Welcome back to the Baseball Bluebook podcast. My name is Eric Wobanaw, the president of the Baseball Bluebook. Are you in the book? The most comprehensive directory since 1909 is now available for download on Google Play and Apple Store. You can also visit us at baseballbluebook.com for more information. So make sure you download it today. Costs nothing. It's great to build a profile, add highlights, add your stats for the summer season, and search our comprehensive directory. Find the coach, the program that you are interested in. Before we begin, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. We want to make sure we reach other viewers just like you to get this out. Today's podcast is brought to you by Empowerment Sports Group, a full advisory and consulting firm with over 10 years of experience, educating and helping athletes develop within baseball and life. ESG enables athletes to achieve their version of success and positively impact their community. For more information, visit them at esgsportsgroup.com or on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Joseph Guzman and Michael McGinnis over there, great guys, helped a lot of players. I've had the privilege of having them on a couple of podcasts with their players, so we are excited to have them as a sponsor. Today's guest is Luis Lopez. How are you, Luis?
All right, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. All right. Hey, well, Luis, why don't you go ahead and take a few minutes of just to introduce yourself, kind of the backstory, and then we'll get right into this.
Luis Lopez. My family is originally from Puerto Rico. I was raised in New York City in Brooklyn, New York. Went to high school there, Canarsie High School. Had a great career there. From there, I went on to get a scholarship, and I went on to Coastal Carolina University. Played there for 4 years. I'm in the school's Hall of Fame and the Conference Hall of Fame there at Coastal. Then after that, I was blessed to be able to sign as a undrafted free agent. I started at independent ball, and then finally I got my chance with the Toronto Blue Jays. They were the first team that signed me, and that was the first team I made it to the big leagues with. I was able to play with them, played with Oakland, Montreal, Atlanta, Milwaukee. I was also able to play out in Japan. And later on in my career, I played out in Mexico for a few years. Then I ended my career playing for the Bridgeport Bluefish in the Atlantic League. Also there, I had another great career. We talk about accolades. Now that I'm retired, I can sit back and look at it. And it was a pretty good career, winning 8 MVPs in the minor leagues, going to 10 All-Star games, over 2,500 hits in the minor leagues. So I was blessed. And I was able to play a little bit in the big leagues as well. Besides that, I fast forward after playing ball now, since retiring in 2015, I started my own foundation. It's called Nighthawks Baseball-6th tool. So there's a little catch to it. I wanted to have a nonprofit organization to help because people were paying outrageous prices to play on these travel teams and go to showcases.
Yep.
So that's one reason why I wanted to start this. And two, I wanted to go back to the high school level because I felt like the fundamentals that we were all taught are not being taught to these young boys. And they need that. I think baseball eventually will come around. I understand, the analytics and all that stuff. And I just think between the old school and the new school, it needs to be a combination of both for everything to work. So that's one of the reasons why I started the Nighthawks Baseball, just to teach them the right way about that. And then I also became the head coach at a prep school here in New York as well in Westchester called the Harvey School. So I've been there now that I'm going in my 8th year. And, if COVID didn't hit, we will be talking about we won the championship probably 4 years in a row. So technically, we're back-to-back champs right now since we lost those other 2 years. So, we're building up a program there, and it's like a prestigious Ivy League high school, basically.
Okay.
And now we're creating the perfect student-athlete.
Well, I don't know. There's about 15 things to talk about right there. Why don't we start? Because I always like to get my guests to talk about kind of their journey. And so you've kind of talked about your journey from a high level. Let's take a step all the way back. You said you're in the Coastal Carolina Hall of Fame. Talk a little bit about college and the transition from high school to college. I know there's a few years back, but you're still young. Tell us a little bit about that.
For sure. The transition going from New York all the way to technically it's Myrtle Beach, but it's really Conway, South Carolina, where the school is. It was a tough transition, taking a city boy and bringing him down, down there. But the beach helped me out, to make that transition. It's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
It was a great school. I went down there. I always remember what my dad told me. He wanted me to choose a college that, yes, I was going to get my education, no doubt. Yes, I was going to play baseball, but he also wanted me to have some type of social life. He just didn't want me to be in a town stuck in the middle of nowhere and then wanting to come back home, which, Myrtle Beach, I mean, there's a lot of things you can say how beautiful that place is. So once I got to be there and really know the area,
yeah.
I came back sparingly for the holidays.
Yeah, tough to leave a beach town when it's snowing up north, right?
Yep, for real.
No, it's certainly a big transition. I'm sure you were used to taking the subway or some other public transportation, and then all of a sudden you got to walk or you got to find rides, and yeah, it's a completely different. Well, that's great. You certainly excelled from that perspective. Were you focused at all on, because one of the things this podcast does, talks a lot of kids watch this. Did you have an idea of what you want to do academically there, or was it baseball all the way?
No, I knew what I wanted to do academically. I knew I wanted to do something in business.
Yeah.
Because I know that degree is very flexible. You can use it to whatever type of career you wanted to afterwards. Yep. The other thing is, my family, especially my dad, he instilled in me that, God forbid you get hurt, in your career. Even if you do get signed, your first year you get hurt, what are you going to do?
Right.
So you need that degree to move on, to try and get a career besides baseball. And that always stuck in my mind. I didn't know I was going to last 20 years. Thank God no surgeries or nothing like that.
That's great.
Or just a couple pull hamstrings and stuff. That was it. But, my dad, that always stuck in my mind.
Yeah. Now, I a lot of times when preparation usually leads to good things, and knowing that you've got something in the back end or the plan B, typically you don't need it. It's the ones that don't have a plan B that typically need plan B, right? And I think that's one thing that you're talking about with the players today, is making sure that they understand from a baseball perspective, doing it the right way, and making sure that academics is really a primary focus on what they're going to do when they go to a college program, and I think that's important. All right, so you finished school, had quite the career from a minor league perspective, but you had some stints in the major leagues. I think the minor league, you went to a ton of All-Star games, MVP a bunch of times. Pick a couple of the places that you kind of found your place. You felt like you really excelled and maybe put all the pieces together.
Well, I'll tell you right now, every place that I went to, I wanted to leave my mark. So my thing was, I would get out in the community as well. I wasn't afraid to go out there and mix in, and have my face out there, because I wanted people to understand I wasn't just a pro player. I was just a regular person as well.
Right.
So I always wanted to go to, whenever they had appearances, to go to schools, to read books to the kids, whichever way, I would try to sign up. That was one thing. So I think every single city that I went to had its own special way and a part of me involved, because I really can't narrow it down to just one city, because I think back about every city and I had a great time in every single one. I tried to make the best of it, especially with the income that we were making. It was very tough.
Yeah.
to go to a lot of places in the minor leagues. Like everybody thinks when you sign professionally, it's all peaches and cream. Hopefully, now that the association and everybody's getting involved, it's going to get better
Right.
to help our minor league players because that's where you need the help. We really don't need the help in the big leagues. In the big leagues, everything's given to us, and you're still making a great salary.
Yeah.
But minor leagues, it's tough. Even finding housing, just little things like that.
No, there's so many different programs now that are coming out that really are helping those things, and it would be nice if MLB would actually step up, and I think some of those things will start happening. We work with a nonprofit called More Than Baseball, and they're a bunch of former MLB players that are helping minor league players kind of find their place from a business perspective, and so we work with a lot of those guys. I think that's really good. It's really an important part and point that you bring up. It's you might sign, but if you never make it, it's tough, and a couple $100,000 doesn't last very long. When you've got to pay for everything. It sounds good at the beginning, and it sounds good when you're 18 years old or 20, but it is tough. So then you're now you kind of at that retirement age, but you've coached, you've done a lot of things, and it's hard to kind of pinpoint of what we should talk about. I'll throw it over to you. What are some of the things right now? You've got a couple of things that you're really interested in, not necessarily the actual position that you're in. What's your overall kind of your objective now? You've retired. You've kind of looked over your life. You're happy with what you've done. The accomplishments are there. What do you want to now give back in that second part of your life?
Well, now that we've started, we're going into our 9th year of the foundation. I can't believe that I've been retired for 9 years already. And my vision was always to help kids and parents, to guide them, because there's a lot of people out there that are preying on families and these kids because they know that you can make a lot of money on this. And I'm just trying to keep the pricing reasonable whenever we can. And then if there's families that actually need help with their financial ways, I try to find sponsors and donors to help them out, to guide them so that they can still go to the same showcases and tournaments that all these other boys and families are able to go to that are fortunate to have that money on their side. So, I always said, why should financial status be involved, to not be able to give a kid an opportunity.
Yep.
The opportunity's there.
Yep.
The kid has good grades. We check grades all the time. So obviously, they got to do their part as well, because I have to ultimately answer back to these sponsorships and these donors, letting them know, no, this kid has a 3.7, this kid has a 3.9, 4.0, whatever. And that's why, we want to give them a full scholarship to help them out to play this summer. A lot of kids I've even had a couple of kids that were homeless, and they went on to college.
That's awesome.
They went into college. One of them graduated already.
That's great.
So, it's amazing the stuff that we've done in such a little bit of time. It's pretty, surreal. What we've done. We've even had some single parent, homes, moms and stuff like that. A lot of those kids getting into colleges. Our first graduating class was 2018. So from 2018 till the present, we've placed close to almost 90 kids now in college.
That's great. That's great. Wow. Well, hey, that's fantastic. You bring up a lot of points. Baseball specifically has been one of those sports that anybody should be able to play. If there's a field somewhere, you got a glove. There's so many stories of people coming from Dominican, different places. You said you came from Puerto Rico. A lot of places they were able to do it because there was very little limitations on what the exposure that they potentially had, and so you could see a lot of these people making it. And what's happened over the last decade or so in the States is you're absolutely right. I think a lot of these people will take as much money as they possibly can, and you see the prices keep going up, and then all of a sudden you've limited the people that are actually going to have the light shined on them. And I take that line from the last person I did a podcast with. His whole thing was the same thing. It's like, the light needs to be shined, and if we need enough people out there, and Luis, that's one of the things that you're doing is shining that light on these kids and giving them the opportunity. It's all we want, right? It's all we want. We want to give these kids an opportunity. What they do with that opportunity is up to them, but the opportunity isn't up to them. And I think that's where you're stepping up and really saying, "Hey, let me help with the opportunity and give you that a chance to go shine and do what you can do." That's great. So 90 people that you've brought up through college. Where are you finding the kids right now? Where do you kind of go out and find them? Do you work with another organization, or do they just know about you now because you've been around for 9 years?
Well, it's a combination of both. I have a lot of buddies out there that are also coaches at the high school level. Mm-hmm. So they know that I'm doing, what I teach, what our organization teaches. And if it's on point on what they're teaching, they're sending them our way. There aren't too many people that I'm able to trust in this business, because a lot of people are teaching different things. And I don't agree with some of the stuff that's being taught. Like I said, there's a lot of the things that I go back to my old school days, the fundamental days, as far as the teaching stuff. But also, we have word of mouth as well. Now our name is out there and everybody's heard of us, including with colleges and scouts, parents. The other day we were playing in a tournament, and we played flat. We lost. We got killed. And the umpires come over to me, and my other coach was like my brother from another, my brother Paulie, comes over to us, and he's like, "Dude, what's going on with you guys?" He goes, "I've heard so many good things about the Nighthawks. This is the first time I've ever had you guys, and you guys got absolutely smoked." And we were like, it was one of them days, That's just the way baseball is. You just never know. And it was a good teaching lesson, though, for our boys. We explained to them, just because of our name and our talent and all that stuff doesn't mean that we just throw our gloves out there and then we're going to win. So you still have to go out there and execute, and do your stuff, do your workouts during the week, stay sharp, all that stuff. So it's a combination of both things. Yeah, we get players from all over the place too, all over the tri-state area.
That's fantastic. So let's change gears a little bit. The one thing that we're going to go back in time a little bit, but you commented on my hat with Abraham Nunez. Told you he's my favorite player. You said he was your roommate. That's crazy. So give me some stories about Abraham, and just a couple.
Oh man, it's me and Abraham go back, and like I said, that was the first year I signed with the Blue Jays, and so did he. And I knew he was a special talent. I mean, you could see the guy would run like a deer, had a great arm, switch hitter, and we hit it off right away. Once I showed up to extended spring training, and he was still learning the language of English. I would help him out with English. My Spanish is good, but I'm still, fixing up my vocabulary. So he'd help me with my Spanish. So it was pretty funny. We'd go out to eat, whatever. And then there would be times, not only him, with some of our other players, our Latin players, I'd tell them, okay, today you guys got to speak only in English, and you got to order your own food today. I said, but I'm here to help you guys out. So, but he was one of the guys that really stepped up and wanted to learn the language.
Yeah.
Oh, and I told him, I said, look, eventually you're going to be gone. I didn't realize it was going to be that quick. I said, you're going to be gone to another organization or to the big leagues or whatever, and I'm not going to be around. So you got to be able to talk with and communicate with your teammates and, your coaches, your front office people. I go, it's just, a matter of time. And sure enough, after that year, he ended up getting traded, and he went right to the big leagues the following year, if I'm not mistaken. So, it's unbelievable how life, makes you cross paths. We lived together in St. Catharines in the New York Penn League. And I mean, we were inseparable. We went all over the place together. Besides our other roommates, we lived in a huge house. There was like 8 or 9 of us, just scattered all over the place. Sleeping in the couches, air mattresses, whatever we had.
Just to play ball. That's
Just to
awesome.
play.
That's
And the
awesome.
good thing is we were walking distance to the stadium,
Oh wow.
so it was great.
That's great. Hey, one of the things you said is the English language and Spanish. I mean, you don't think about that transition or the more. It's not just culture shock. It's just being able to talk the language and it sounds like from the very beginning you were there to help people and wanted to be somebody that people could go to and kind of be somebody they can rely on. Is that the way you feel? Is that the way you saw it? Is that kind of what you just who you are, who you were raised like?
Yeah, it's the way I was raised. My parents always raised me, to help out whenever you can. Always to be a leader. And whenever in my leading action, I tried not to be so vocal. I tried to lead a lot by example,
Yeah,
but I always wanted to help people for sure. And I knew that a lot of our Latin speaking players, they're coming from all over different countries. And I said, man, it's got to be tough. You're leaving
yeah,
everybody to come here, all your loved ones to come here by yourself, yet to play a game that we love, but you have nobody. So I just try to extend that hand that, to be and let them know that I was a person that they could trust,
yep,
and I was in their corner, and I would let them know, whatever they needed to know, for all their information, so that nobody would take advantage of them, because I would hope the same thing, when I would go to a different country, I would hope somebody would help me the same way. And, I kind of experienced that when I went to Japan. I
yeah.
had to rely on my translator a lot, so I understood. But that's just the way I was raised, man. My parents were like that. Don't be afraid to help, help out people,
It
have manners.
it'll come back tenfold, right? It'll it
100%.
always
I'm
comes
big on,
back.
yeah, I'm big on karma.
Yep,
I'm big on that.
yep. No, I think that's fantastic, Luis. So we were introduced actually by one of your, I think was he one of your players,
Yes.
Andres.
Yep.
Do a quick shout out about Andres. I mean, he's been fantastic. I just texted him, said that you were on, and he goes, "Oh man, I got another one for you." So he got another coach that he's got lined up for me. Just do a quick shout out about Andres.
Well, I'll tell you right now, my buddy Andre, man, he came to us this year, and he was recommended by another coach that is in my organization that had him when he was younger. And you talk about the first thing I noticed right away, the kid was very focused, very respectful, and I love that when a kid is fully engaged.
Yeah,
Because what I'm trying to, I always tell them what we're trying to give you guys out. We're trying to give you guys out the information, almost like a doctor when he writes out a prescription. We're trying to give you the same thing on what we've been through, so that you don't have to go through what are bad things.
yeah,
Hopefully, you'll just skip those and keep moving on, move forward. And he was a kid that you talk with him about fielding, hitting, and you see him trying to make the adjustments. He'll send videos. He'll be working out. Send me videos. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Even when he's working during the week, when we're technically off,
yep,
we don't have a practice that day. In practice, he'll ask questions. Um, he's a versatile player too. And I told him, I said, don't just limit yourself to playing just the infield. Have you ever played the outfield? He's like, not really. And I go, why not? I go, your speed is getting better.
yeah,
You can go out there and start playing the outfield as well. Then, as long as you hit, they're gonna find you a spot to play.
yep,
So, and he goes, it makes sense. He goes, I said, then you have no position that you can't play,
right.
and nobody can lock you in or they can't sit you down, especially if you're hitting. And like I said, between Andre and his family, man, they've been so supportive with the foundation, pushing us because they understand what the vision that I've had with this, and they're helping us whatever way they can, with the kids and stuff. So I thank them a ton. Andre and his family.
I think that's great. That's fantastic. What do you do a lot of different things. What's really your strength? If you were to narrow it down to one thing that somebody would say about you, what would that be?
As far as playing wise,
Just anything. Why somebody?
in general.
Go ahead.
Okay, anything in general, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna go to my go-to line that I tell my ball players all the time. I wanted to be remembered as a great teammate and a great person before being a great athlete, a great ball player. That's in the back mirror. I wanted everybody to say that they can depend on me. That guy was loyal. He was always there to back whatever we were going about. Um, I just wanted to be that person. I wanted to be a good person before I was a player, because I think that's very important. I think that's what's lacking in our society nowadays.
Yeah.
We don't have too many good human beings,
Yeah.
and we need to get back to that.
Yep.
Need to get back to that, and then you're going to see that our country can change.
Yep. I couldn't say it better, Luis. I agree. You know what? When you're gone, you want to be remembered by something, and they're probably not going to remember how you threw the ball. They'll probably remember you of who you were as a character, your person, and how you helped other people. And I think that's commendable. Now, that doesn't mean you aren't going to help them from skills perspective, and you got a whole ton of experience, and you can help them in a lot of ways. But I think you're absolutely right. Being a good teammate and being a good person should be the number one thing for everybody, because if we focused on that, there's a whole lot of things, good things that could come of it. And I think that's a great place to wrap up, Luis.
Sure.
Kind of a good way of saying thanks. I appreciate you joining the podcast. I encourage anybody that's listening, check out Luis Lopez's foundation. We'll have all that information on the YouTube. We also put it out on podcast with Spotify, Apple Podcast. And Luis, thank you very much for building your profile in the Baseball Blue Book. Get your kids to do it. That's the biggest thing that we're offering is all these kids. It's no cost. They can build their profile. They can put their videos out there. They can contact coaches. There's a whole lot of cool things that they can do. And so I encourage you to get your players to do it, your coaches, the people that you know, and we'd really appreciate that.
Awesome. I really appreciate you guys having me on. That's one. Thank you for having me on, Eric. Two, I will get my players and coaches to get on that, because you're right. This is about networking and relationships.
Yep.
And that's what people have to understand, especially getting your kid to the next level. Is not so much these showcases, because a lot of them, yes, are money grabs. So we have to be careful.
Yep.
So, you get on there, get onto that Baseball Blue Book, and I think you're going to find a lot of people on there. I know I'm going to start messing with it even more now.
Good.
And really check it out. But I will definitely tell everybody in my foundation.
Awesome.
To support.
Hey, you know what, Luis? You couldn't have said it better, because the networking side, it goes back to being a good person. You can't network very well if you're not a good person. And so you got to start there. And you got to have the right motives and the right motivation. And I think that's where it comes. We want to help people, connect people with the right people. And with you on there, we're going to do everything we can to promote you and to promote what you're doing. Because there's kids out there everywhere. It doesn't really matter what background. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter your location. There's just as many poor people in the rural America as there are in the inner cities. But there's a ton of talent. There's a ton of talent. And if we can expose that talent and help them and lead them in the right direction, I think I'm going to send my son out there to your foundation. I think
send them out here, bring them out here, and then, matter of fact, to the school as well. We got dorms. We have dorms at the Harvey School.
You know what? I think going from where I'm at to where you're at would be like going from Puerto Rico to New York. It would be a culture shock, and we'd have to have you there probably to translate to New Yorkese, right? The different language out there. Oh, well, hey, appreciate it so much. Thank you, sir. It's been a lot of fun, and I'll get this out as soon as I can, but I appreciate everything, Luis. We'll keep in touch, and really appreciate it.
For sure. Thanks for having me, Eric. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate you guys joining us today. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.